good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Newsome House. My name is Patricia Taylor. I currently serve on the foundation board for the Newsome House. It's called the Newsome House Museum and Cultural Center at this time. And there is a foundation that was established years ago for the Newsome House to support it, and that is the foundation that this wonderful young lady and myself, that's who we serve on. I'm Patricia Taylor, and
I'm Cassandra Wright.
Cassandra Wright. Cassandra's probably one of the youngest people on that board. Thank you, Lord, for you. They know technology and things that we don't know. So we put it together. We've got the history. We know that. And she helps us make it work and promote it. So we thank God for them. To my right is someone that I've adopted myself. This gentleman here is
Tad Williams. My name is
Tad
Tad
Williams.
Williams. I work here at the Newsome House.
Wonderful, wonderful place for him to be, and I thank God for him being here today. Tad is going to give us a wonderful introduction talking about Mr. Newsome and his amazing history. So, with that, Cassandra and I are going to take our seats, and if there are any questions later on, we'll be happy to answer them. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Tad.
All right, once again, my name is Tad Williams, and this is the Newsome House Museum and Cultural Center. This home was the home of Joseph Thomas Newsome and his family. He was one of the most prominent Black lawyers from Newport News in the early 1900s, as well as a local civil rights leader. But he did more than just live here, he and his family. This home was also a hub for activism for the community. He did a lot of work for the community out of this house. His focus really was on civil rights and building up what this community needed to thrive. And this house was like the hub for that. So Mr. Newsome, he was born in Sussex County, Virginia on Princeton Plantation in 1869. He was born after the Civil War, so he was never a slave, but his parents, they had been slaves, as well as most of his brothers and sisters. He was the 16th of 17 children. After the Civil War, they stayed there as sharecroppers where they continued to grow peanuts and cotton. Mr. Newsome, though, the owner of the plantation, took an interest in him. And so he, along with the local church, helped pay for him to go to college. He went to Virginia Normal and Collegiate Institute, which is now Virginia State University, became a teacher, did that for a little while, but then was encouraged to go to law school because he really did not like teaching that much. He went to Howard Law. Now, he had met his wife. She is from Mary Beatrice Winfield Newsome. She is from Petersburg. He met her while he was there at Virginia Normal. So then he went to D.C. to Howard Law, which he paid for himself, bussing tables in hotels and digging ditches in the streets of D.C. with a pickaxe, while his wife was going to art teaching school in D.C. He graduated at the top of his class in 1898 and began his work as a lawyer. He moved originally to Newport News. One of his sisters was living here, and she was getting older, so he moved to be close to her. And he saw an opportunity to really plant roots. The bones here for the Black community were very, very strong, and they were thriving. Especially in this community. One of the biggest employers here, of course, still was the shipyard. The shipyard paid Black and white people the same rates, which was really unheard of at the time. So there are a lot of people here, Black people here, who had really, really good jobs. It also helped get federal housing for the Black community here. And so this became a booming Black community. And Mr. Newsome saw that, hey, this community could really be something. They just really needed some help and some leaders. And so he became one of them. This home here was originally built by Dr. William R. Granger. He was from Barbados. He sold the house to the Newsomes in 1906 and moved further up north. The Newsomes, when they bought it, they said, no, we're going to make this the most luxurious home we have ever seen. It was like a salt box design. They wanted to turn it into a Queen Anne style home. So they moved the doors. The front doors were originally on oak. They moved the front door to over here to the side for the French doors. They added the wraparound porch outside with the colonial columns. They added the bay windows here in the dining room. They added the turret in the master bedroom, really turning this into really just a beautiful home, Queen Anne style home. Inside, all the hardwood floor is original. The Newsomes added their Corinthian columns and latticework and the archways and the woodwork for the coffered ceilings here on the first floor. Some other features that they added to the home. This home was the first home in the area with central plumbing and central electricity. They had a full bathroom with a shower installed on their second floor. Its original appliances are still there, you can see later. And much of the furniture is original here that you'll see throughout the home, including the yvette a beautiful mirror there with the electric lights, which is original, still works. So throughout Mr. Newsome's life here, this room here was not just where they had their dinner parties. This is where the community would come together to talk about issues of the day. So when discussions about how to get the first Black high school, Huntington High School, they would start. A lot of the discussions happened here in this room. Discussions about helping start businesses on Chestnut Avenue. Those discussions would happen here. Whatever community organizing needed to happen, it would be here. This home was also the only Black polling station in Newport News for many, many years. Mr. Newsome would get home from his office, and sometimes people would be lined up around the porch waiting to get in here to vote or for whatever other service they were providing. He actually had a home office made for himself in the attic. He called that Norfolk because when he wanted to be left alone, his wife would say he was in Norfolk, but he was just upstairs. But really, this home was open. People would come at all hours of the night asking for his assistance, whether they could pay or not. He would accept them. They would pay for him sometimes with chicken or produce or whatever. Would also barter for some services around the home. They did have servants who worked here on a regular basis. Back here's a service hallway where the kitchen was, leading to the nice sized basement, which is very rare here. Houses don't normally have basements here. There also was a dumbwaiter so that they could that goes up to the guest bedroom. The guest bedroom, another important feature in the home. As you know, there weren't very many hotels that Black people were allowed to stay at the time. So when prominent Black people came to the area, they would often stay in the guest bedroom upstairs, right next to that beautiful bathroom, and the dumbwaiter so the service could send them up their breakfast or whatnot. People that we know stayed here several times. Booker T. Washington stayed here. W.B. Du Bois was invited, Marcus Garvey. And imagine even like Maggie Walker, if she came down. These are all figures that Mr. Newsome worked with on many initiatives, building up a lot of the businesses all there on Chestnut Avenue. He was very involved in that. So his work as a lawyer he mostly focused on civil rights. He was an amazing criminal defense attorney, actually the first Black public defender here in Newport News. And he also worked a lot for voting rights. He argued before the Virginia Supreme Court and the DC Supreme Court. He was also very good with helping people start their businesses, handling family affairs. As you know, when people get a little bit of money, and the Black people in this community were able to get some money, then divorces happened. So he was able to handle several divorces as well. But he was like an all-around, all-service lawyer. Whatever people needed help with, whether they could pay or not, he was there for them. His wife as well was an avid activist in this community. She ran this house like a ship, which was important. They had one biological daughter, Maurice, and a foster daughter, Lena. Also with the events that were constantly coming through here and the staff and the fundraisers and the community organizing, she made sure that this house was set to perfection for each of those purposes. She herself, like I said, she was educated. She went to Virginia Normal and then had a teaching degree, then got an art teaching degree in DC. And she was an art teacher. She actually had some beautiful, beautiful hand-painted china that the family kept, unfortunately. So the china that you see here is, especially on the wall to the right, similar to what she would have had, but the family kept those. And she outlived Mr. Newsome by many decades. So Mr. Newsome, he died in 1942 at 73 years old. Mrs. Newsome, she died in 1975, almost 100 years old. And she continued to help people for as long as she could. After Mr. Newsome passed, she took in boarders here. The attic is really a full attic. There were 3 rooms up there. And so either families who needed some help or young women just moving into the area, Mrs. Newsome would take care of them and make sure that they were on the straight and narrow before they were able to set out on their own. And they had several other properties, and she continued really to help people. There are people even today who've come and said they remember Mrs. Newsome in the early 70s sitting on a rocking chair on her porch out here. And so they're very beloved here. They were very beloved here. Anybody who was anybody was involved when this became a museum. So as I said, the Newsomes only had the one biological child, Maurice. She died 2 years after Mrs. Newsome in 77. Maurice herself only had one child who was leaving the country at the time. So with no more direct descendants living here, what happened to this house? Well, the Newsomes owned this home and the house right next door. I used that as a rental property. A woman who lived 2 doors down named Miss Carrie Brown. Some of you may remember her, yes, Miss Carrie Brown. She had a vision. She was a very good friend of Mrs. Newsome's. When the family all left, she purchased this home and the home in between and saved as much history as she could. The houses, though, were vacant for over 10 years, became pretty run down. But during that time, she rallied the community together. They were able to get this declared a National Historic Site and raised $600,000 to have the homes restored as best they could. And then Miss Brown, she donated this home, the home in between, and her own, and created the Newsome House Foundation Board in 1991, which you just met two of our board members. It's still active today. And so since then, it's been open as a museum and a cultural center. Thanks to Ms. Brown, she preserved so much of the Newsome's furniture and the documents. So just about everything you see throughout the house, the furniture and many documents, they were preserved by her. They are original to the Newsomes. It continues to stay open. We work with many organizations in the community. We've had our art shows for the community, book signings. We've had filming of documentaries here. We've had celebrations of life and culture. We had events that advocate for Native American and Black American history, as well as women's history. And Mrs. Newsome, she was an avid believer in women's rights, and so we try to carry on that legacy. She also was an amazing gardener. Many of the trees and bushes here that were planted by her, this crimson Japanese camellia and the dogwoods in the back, we are on the Registry of Unique Gardens in Virginia because of her. So yeah, she really led a full life here, as well as the Newsomes, and the people in this community remember them fondly. And although I'm not from Newport News, from the people that I've spoken to, I believe that this community would not have been anywhere near what it was without the Newsomes. And so it's a privilege and an honor to work here, to work here and be here and tell this story. So we do actually give full tours regularly on Fridays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. But if like a big group wants to come other than that, they can talk and we can arrange something like that as well. So speaking of Huntington High School, Mr. Newsome actually helped start Huntington High School. He helped get land rights to where they built it, of course, working a lot with the shipyard. And so one of the other services that are provided here, we have archives that are many of them being digitized, but we have all the Huntington yearbooks, well, almost all of them, digitized here and possibly available to be viewed by the community going back to 1924 all the way to 1970. There's just a few years that we're missing and still looking for, but those are some, and many other people have donated, people who have this local history have donated their documents, and the history is preserved here in our archives in the Carrie Brown House. That's what that's used for, our archives in the boardrooms over there. And Mr. Newsome was an amazing lawyer. There was a rumor that he had never lost a case. It wasn't true, but it was a rumor for a reason. Black and white lawyers and judges considered him a friend, a colleague, a worthy adversary. So they had never heard anyone give arguments the way he did. He would quote scripture, theater, poetry. He also knew how to use the minutia of the law to his advantage. He was able to trick a judge into, so there was a case, Mr. Newsome knew he was going to lose. And he was defending his client to the best of his ability, but he knew he was going to lose this case. So it was so hot that somewhere like a day like today, that he convinced the judge to hold court outside in the park area. Now, Mr. Newsome knew that later when he lost the case, he could appeal on the grounds that outside in the park was not an appropriate place to hold court. And so like I said, he knew how to use the law to the full advantage. He was a very powerful man, very well respected. The day of his funeral, the church, they had several churches open for overflow. There were thousands in attendance. They broadcast the service over the radio. The mayor led the procession to pay respects, and they shut down the courts in his honor, which they've never done for anyone before or since. He was a very powerful and beloved man. If you notice, like in the pink and the green in certain places, features of the house, the stained glass window that's at the stairs, the AKAs also helped us get our public bathrooms back here. We appreciate their help and assistance. Yeah. After he passed, that next year they built Newsome Park Housing Development, as well as Newsome Park Elementary School. It was originally for Black defense workers during World War II, and then later on became public housing. And no matter what company buys that and tries to rename it, everybody calls it Newsome Park. This community has strong roots in taking care of itself. They've won awards, and the organization that Mr. Atkins was a part of, that community security organ. The Minutemen, yes, the Minutemen. They won national awards for the work they did. So this area went through very tough times through the 70s and 80s, but the community itself rallied itself together to keep themselves safe and to educate the community. They started off with just watching literally fathers and mothers, aunts and uncles just standing on corners and watching the community at the bus stops and whatnot. But then they also saw a need and said, hey, let's get into education. They put on plays to teach people about how you need to stop for the school bus and whatever else the community needed. And like that those roots there, that goes back to the time of Mr. Newsome and the other figures like him around here saying, hey, we need to take care of each other. And that continued, legacy continued even today. There's been efforts to start the Minutemen up again here. And regardless of what anybody says about the East End, it is a strong community of just families and working people trying to make it. How many lawyers worked with him? I know he partnered with other lawyers from time to time in his law firm. He worked with the Walker brothers. He was an avid mentor as well. Marion Lavinia Poe, the first Black woman to pass the Virginia, to become a lawyer in the state of Virginia. He was one of her she was one of his secretaries at first. He sponsored her to become a lawyer, and several other young men as well. So he was an avid mentor. I don't know how many. No, they know that he and Ms. Poe worked together. I don't know how many other lawyers he had working with him in his firm. Yes. Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you so much. Everyone from your household, from the time you stepped out the door, you bumped up against discipline. It's not like that anymore. We don't know who our neighbors are, so you don't know if they're crazy, what's going on. Our children have a lot of challenges that we didn't even think about. When we stepped out the door, Brenda, Raymond, and Purcell, we were looking for friends and people to play with. What we gonna do? We're going outside, or we're going on the porch. And it created that atmosphere of safety. I told the chief of police for Newport News, I don't care if they double the people you have, because we don't police ourselves anymore. Your job is incredible. I don't even know how you do what you do, because we have gotten away from policing ourselves the way we used to. One child was everybody's child. The whole neighborhood knew you. They knew your mom and daddy. They knew your grandparents, aunts, uncles, the dog's name. Mm-hmm. When one girl told me one day, said, they had a white dog named Bob. I said, what? You know the dog's name? Because it was all inclusive. I never heard about it. We didn't have any money, but did anybody run away from home, Raymond, that you know of? Where you gonna go? All the people knew you. What you doing over here? Where you gonna run to? You go 10 blocks, you just not getting another city. Mm-hmm. So our world mostly was where we walked, where we could step for 2 or 3 blocks. That was it. But it was so full of life and so full of children, the same age with the same goals, same discipline. All of that was the same, and so we just stepped on that path. Wherever they told us to go, that's the way we walked. Teachers at that time were special. They had a particular mission. Didn't you get that? Oh, Tad is getting it. They had a particular mission. It's somebody to do it. I don't know why ain't not, but anyway, they had a particular mission. As we said earlier, women could not live on their own. They had to be accompanied by somebody. Somebody had to speak up for you. Women, and we've always been the structure of everything they say, but we still didn't have rights until we fought for them. So everything that came to us, from women on to different cultures, we had to fight for. It made it important, so when you got it, you knew that you earned it because you fought for it. So this whole community, not just here, I'm talking about Huntington, Carl and Phoenix, we had to look out for each other. We didn't have a choice. There was one policeman that lived on my block, Mr. Whitaker, who was one of the first Black policemen on the city, for the city of Newport News. I lived during the time they had the first Black fire chief, so we've been here through a lot of history. If you did anything that I would say something that happened that you had to go to the police before lawyer Newsome or somebody could talk to you, God bless you, because I don't know what your outcome might be. But because we policed ourselves, even as adults, when you had a group of children together and adults told you don't do something, the bigger kids disciplined the little children and looked out for them. You didn't have to get back to mama, because mama gonna get you as the big kid, but letting the little kids do stuff, and you don't want to get in trouble because you want to go somewhere Saturday or Friday. Everything seemed to be relevant then that young people don't have anymore. Still today, there are people in this audience that I have known. I don't even know when I didn't know them. And over 80 years old, that is something special to me. I don't have any natural brothers, but I can call these guys right here that I see right now. I may not be able to borrow $1 million, but I won't be broke. If I need to pay my water bill, I can call them up. They're not going to question me, oh, well, what you did, why didn't you? They're going to say, what your needs is. Oh, what's going on, girl? Can you do that today? Can you count on people having your back? I don't see it. I don't feel it. If I'm talking to Miss Audrey about history, we talk about it different time. There are young people sometimes come around me in my space and I feel some kind of way about them. But then there are other people that you're like, well, why do they act like that? Because you weren't allowed to act a certain way. Most of the adults in your culture at that time were on the same page. So what your mama told you, Miss Smith across the street said the same thing. When you go to Miss Tucker's house, she's got the same thing. So you figure it must be right because all those people said it, and you reverenced them and you respected their opinion. And Huntington was a different place too. That was a whole different world. Huntington produced some people that is just almost incredible to when you think about that history. Huntington, Carver, and Phoenix produced amazing people for this country, and in particular the East Coast. A lot of people went into the military, but we have some amazing stories. We have a descendant from Smith's Pharmacy here with us visiting today, and we're going to take another day and talk about that amazing history. We just found out recently that that family that I'm talking about have two brothers that are their descendants from their brother. They are the siblings, that's the word I want to use, from their brothers, and they have two brothers that work Tuskegee Airmen. Amazing history. So when I'm talking to people and they got to gossip, and I don't have time for it. I want to talk about my history, what's going on. That's my fellowship, and that's what I can pass down to my children and the children around me. So I thank you guys again for coming, and we're going to welcome a wonderful young lady that I've known most of her life too, Miss Brenda Tucker, who is descendant of the Tucker family. She's going to talk about Chestnut Avenue. Yes. Come on, Miss Tucker.
A little bit.
We're so glad.
Thank
She
you.
had to travel from out of town, took the train to come down.
Mama, Master gonna steal us in the morning. Yes, kneel and pray. Mama, Master gonna steal us in the morning. That's where we were at one time. We've gotten beyond that. We heard the story of caring for each other. We've moved into a different category now, but that's another talk. I grew up in a family, mother, father, or I should say father, mother, really. Father, mother, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. There were 6 children. We grew up on 39th Street. It's now on Pembroke Avenue, but it was 39th Street. My father sold produce. He would take us on his truck to get fresh produce in Norfolk. So we were on the ferry, come back and sell produce, fresh produce in Newsome Park. Mr. Tucker? Oh, what you got today, Mr. Tucker? And they were white and black people. And a lot of Newsome Park was predominantly white at that time. And so, well, at that time, I have to tell my age, I guess. I'm 84, so that was way back then.
Wow.
My father was born, I never really knew whether he was born in the home on Chestnut Avenue,
Okay.
3306 Chestnut Avenue. His name was Alexander Samuel Tucker. And at some point, he married my mother, who was a Howell, Mary Elizabeth Howell. And I don't know for sure, but somehow I think he met her at the House of Prayer. That was not his preference for my mother. He brought her out of the house of prayer. It was later that I learned that the one they called Daddy Grace was from Portugal. And then I'll back up on Portugal. The Portuguese were notorious in the slave trade. You knew that. Well, back to Newport News, Hampton. So 1501 was, Pembroke Avenue was, well, it was 1501 39th Street then, and now it's, the property is not in the Tucker's hands. It was sold. But we were on a highway. 39th Street was a highway. Behind our home was the railroad. So that must have been C&O. You said, I forgot. We played on the railroad tracks. We walked the railroad tracks. But of course, we had to watch out for each other, and we knew the sound of the train. And certainly, we avoided the area. We were not allowed to cross over 39th Street because it was a highway. However, being in Hampton, we were supposed to have gone to Aberdeen School. My father said, too far. We had to cross over 39th Street to go to Booker T. Washington, much shorter walk. We would have had to walk longer to catch the bus going to Aberdeen. Yes. And Booker T. Washington Elementary School was a prize. It was a prize. You talked about how families knew what was going on in the homes and so forth. If you got in trouble at Booker T, if the teachers talked to you, I don't know if the students told their mamas or whatever, or the teacher called them out. It wasn't a whole lot of phoning. The mouth. Before you got to your house, you knew you were going to get a whipping because the word went. The word got home before you got there. That is true, isn't it? And it's amazing. It's amazing how they operated. And no parents spoke negatively against any other.
No.
Didn't hear it.
And didn't speak negatively against the teachers.
No, indeed. No way. And we had some of the smartest teachers. They weren't allowed to go to the Columbia then, it's early, New York, or different places. They had to go a distance to get the master's degrees. And when they came back, they were ready. They got us ready.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
had an amazing education.
Yes, ma'am.
We had amazing parents. And then, of course, the churches. I attended, well now, I mentioned House of Prayer. So my mother's family, the Howell family members, for the most part, attended House of Prayer. My father wasn't going to have that. He learned that the man who was called Daddy Grace was, where did I say? He was from Portugal.
Yes, right.
And whenever Grandmother Howell had to babysit us while Mother took care of business or whatever was going on, Grandmother did take us to the House of Prayer. So we did see what was going on in that service. We saw this man sitting up in a tall chair. The trombones were playing. Were they the trombones or the trumpets? Trombones.
Yeah, trombone and trumpet.
Okay, they were playing, and people will walk around stepping, Daddy, my rock, Daddy, my rock. I called him Daddy, my rock. And they were putting money in the baskets or whatever pans they had for him. Well, this was a new experience for us, something different from what we would see ordinarily. Daddy Grace sat with his hands on his chair, and he had the longest painted fingernails. So this was entertainment for us. It wasn't a religious or Christian experience. It was entertainment. So we go home when grandmother released us to our mother when mother came back from her errands or whatever. We'd go home and we would imitate what we saw in the church. My father nipped that in the bud. Then he started teaching us songs that were supposed to learn in church and did learn in church. He would line us up when company came, and he would have us sing, and they would give money to leave a little money for us. And when we all said goodbye, my father took the money. And I said, so much for entrepreneurship. It was a wonderful experience. We learned to appreciate. We learned the difference in what was, in terms of what was important, what was good, and what was something you'd leave alone. He taught us to hold our heads up, straighten up, put your heads up, put your shoulders back. He'd make us walk around the house. We enjoyed it, with family. And of course, we tried to outdo one another. But you learn to hold your head up, put your shoulders back, and walk. He said, walk like you're somebody. It just goes through me every time I think about it and hear it. Because he was strict, he was serious about it. Nobody got slapped if they were not walking straight enough. He'd just make sure you heard him. And my mother would be in the kitchen preparing a good meal. Harmony in the home. And you talked about how all of that works together for. And if every family is doing the same thing, basically, we didn't have to worry about guns and beating each other up with sticks and the crime that goes on today. Oh, I don't know if you heard about this 3-year-old little girl. It was on national news. I think it was a great aunt who was caring for the child. She beat the child to death. And she won't see the light of day anymore. There was a brown belt she kept on the balcony of the stairs. How she happened to be a caretaker for this child, I don't know, but it was a family member. And then her boyfriend, grown man, they found some plastic in the basement or somewhere, closet, to wrap the child in, dead body. Never, never, never would have expected anything like that. Unheard of. So you wonder if the genes are changing, just what's going on? What is going on? Yeah. We had a wonderful growing up. Chestnut Avenue. In the summertime, when school was over, we would have at least a week, and I'm saying we, these are the girls now. And Thelma was one. Gladys was a little older, so she...
These are your cousins.
Yeah, oh, right. These are my cousins on, the Green family. Thelma, Alice, we called her Betty, Theodore, Samuel, Charmaine. The Green family lived on Chestnut and, what's that, Oak?
28.
28? Okay, see, I've been here a while.
It's okay.
Okay, so my sister, Diane, my oldest sister, Carol, she was in a different class by then. We would meet at grandmother's and we would have a week.
Where was grandmother's house?
Grandmother's house, 3306 Chestnut Avenue, right next to the store, Tucker's grocery store, where our Uncle Emmanuel Tucker ran the store. So we would be there just to have fun for a week in the summertime. And it was hot. And we were in the attic. It was a beautiful house, but it didn't have bedrooms on the first level. Bedrooms on the second level, and then in the attic. We had a hard time going to sleep, but we had a lot of fun talking and playing, just acting silly girls. As soon as the breeze was coming in the windows and we were getting our nap, our night's sleep, here comes Uncle James,
Okay.
Uncle Emmanuel's brother. Uncle James was a painter. He would come in the house and at the banister, at the first level, looking up, we couldn't see him, but this is what was going on. And he said, get up, get your black sworn clothes out of bed. He didn't spare us. Now, he was a painter, and he also had his drink. And so Uncle James would make us get up, and he also called us another name. You're grown. Get up, you faggots, get out of that bed. He would call us his but Uncle James drank, so. And we would walk around, you faggot. We never let the adults hear. We always, because we knew it was something wrong. But Uncle James would give us all a paintbrush, and we had to, and he was a painter, so we thought we were cleaning his buckets. We were using those paintbrushes to whitewash the trunks of the trees.
Whitewash.
Didn't have any idea why. We thought he was just giving us
Something to do.
something to do and also clean his brushes. We learned later, much later, that whitewash from the paint kept the mosquitoes away. Now, grandmother Tucker, and she was a Parker. Grandmother would tell us, come in, clean yourselves up, change your clothes. Of course, you didn't have a whole lot of clothes, but you had something that was different, nice, and sit out on the porch. You sat out on the porch and act like people.
Brenda, can you stop right there for a moment?
Yes.
That is something that we all experienced that I don't think it went past our generation. What was it that you would say every day? Because people don't understand the relevance of changing clothes. So every day, folks don't know we did this because it went past, it stopped at our generation. That even black poor children that we didn't know we were poor changed clothes every day before you went to the dinner table. You bathed up, you freshen up as if you were going somewhere formal to eat, and you cleaned up and you changed your clothes. What time is the question when we were kids, are you gonna put on your clean clothes? Every day we did that. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
But we did that in 1950 and 1955, you changed clothes every day. And you didn't have that many clothes.
No.
But you didn't go to the dinner table dirty.
No. And we kept
so
that.
you didn't go dirty, so you had to change your clothes. Whatever you had.
That's true.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Grandmother had a chicken coop. We had a chicken coop too on 39th Street. And we both, the families ate chicken. Grandmother knew how to prepare it in different ways, and certainly my mother did too. Both were good cooks. Grandmother did not visit in our home on 39th Street that I recall. She might have years before I was born. And mother didn't visit there. They were too busy, basically, taking care of home. And of course, if they visited, they would be duplicating whatever was going on in their house in terms of working with the children. But we knew each other, we loved each other. My mother studied at Huntington High School to do hair. So she didn't complete the studies, she said, but she had learned enough that she was able to do our hair, her daughter's hair. And then the Greens would come over, my Aunt Emma, Uncle James and Jackson, Uncle James and Uncle Emmanuel's sister That was their baby sister. There was Aunt Alice, and Aunt Alice was Thelma's mother. Thelma's the one who wrote the history, and the plaque is on a stand at the cemetery in Hampton. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It was done, I think, about 7 years ago when we started cleaning up the cemetery. I'll get back to the cemetery. Oh, Booker T. Washington again. When we leave school, we would all go to 3306 Chestnut Avenue. Now, my father's children lived on 39th Street. Grandmother would always have what she called hamburgers for us. They were meatballs. We looked forward to whatever grandmother had, but it was gravy. It was meatballs and gravy. And grandmother was a proper lady. She would have the food in a frying pan. And we got our instructions and we obeyed and we cleaned up after ourselves. Grandmother would sit like a wealthy woman in her parlor, in the dining room, in the living room, living room combination.
Yes,
And she would sit like she was somebody. So that's where my father got it. Hold your head up, act like you're somebody. Great training.
Yeah.
Is still in me to this day. So I had a wonderful childhood. Booker T. We had good teachers. They were dedicated. Many of them did go and get their master's degree. I don't think doctorate at that time. I could name some, but it would come slowly and it might take a little long. But Patricia Hayes, do you remember that name?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Taught
yes.
English,
Yes.
Oh, yes.
didn't play.
Mm.
When I got to Hampton, I was exempt from English 101. She made you learn it. You wanted to learn it.
Yes.
She lived a long time.
Yes.
She was a fine teacher.
Yes.
And there were so many of them.
So many.
And of course, the band, the choir, and so forth. The experiences growing up on Chestnut Avenue, on Pembroke Avenue, were just remarkable.
Amazing.
I am so grateful that I had that experience.
Yes.
And I did major in elementary education. Oh, but before I do that, the family members who were ahead of me and having their families, I became the babysitter. I loved it. I loved the job. But my mother said to them, whenever they called us, I want Brenda to babysit. Brenda wants to go to Hampton.
Mm.
She might have said Brenda wants to go to college because I really wanted to go to Virginia State to get away from home. I thought I was going to grow up. You know? I thought I was going to grow up. They said, you're going to Hampton. That's the nearest school, and it was the best experience. The AKAs, the Deltas, whatever the frat brothers were doing. We were all like brothers and sisters on the campus. They taught us that you do not pass one another without speaking.
Amen.
I got to Baltimore and I was amazed at how people didn't see each other. They just walked.
Mm.
We had to nod
So
or
disrespectful.
speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true. That's right.
Didn't have to know the name.
Acknowledge people.
Acknowledge.
Miss Brenda, can I ask you, do you personally know the deep history of the travel, of how your ancestors came in? Do you know that history yourself, talking about it, or is that too much?
I can share a little. Share a little. Okay, you want me to go back to,
Can
or
you
take it
talk
back?
about that? Yes.
Yes.
Do you know, I mean, because I know you got it documented. It's all over everywhere.
It
but
is.
do you know
It's all over everywhere.
yourself? We know the Portuguese chefs.
Went to, last summer I had an opportunity to travel with Carolita, is the head person in charge of Angola travel. And Carolita has been, my niece, has been all over the world. Seriously, seriously. Carolita is the youngest child of my oldest sister, Carol Virginia Tucker, who married Bill Jones or William Jones.
The post office.
Yes,
He worked the post office.
with you.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very well.
Yes.
And also, what I remember is that Carol is a little bit older. So at that time, the when you had older brothers and sisters, with that difference in age, it was almost like a second mom.
Sis was second mom
Yes.
to us.
Yes.
She certainly was.
Yes, ma'am.
Good for you. Absolutely. So we couldn't get away with much in it.
Forget that.
Yeah, but Mother had a different way of ruling. She would hum. When we were misbehaving, she would hum. If we heard a certain sound coming from her, we knew to straighten up. It's amazing how they didn't have to.
First and carry on the way people do that.
Oh, right. Now, my father did talk about a strap with my brothers. And I had a sister, Diane. She was the middle girl between Carol and Brenda. So Diane would know my brother Alexander was misbehaving. She would tell Dad. She was a telltale now. Hey, Dad, Alec is doing such and such. Then she'd run back to Alec. Dad said he's going to get you. And then Alec would have her help him pad up. So he would be ready for the whipping.
Know that bad.
Wow.
We had fun. We had tears. It was life. Now, let me see if I can get this ship
Okay.
where it started from.
Yes, ma'am.
Angola. My father told us that we were never enslaved, but that we had come from Angola. Now, I had done some reading. Enoch Pratt Library in Baltimore, Maryland, where I live, has a remarkable library system. And Carla Hayden, the one that your president fired from the Library of Congress, Carla Hayden ran the library system in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
Well, anyway, books are available in the library. The books have been written, and really, we need to go and get them because Trump President has talked about taking these books out of the schools, out of the libraries. In as much as he fired Carla Hayden. What for? Angola. The books are written. The Portuguese people, or I should say the country leadership, was the most, how do I say it? Notorious, I would say.
And aggressive.
Yeah, and aggressive, yes. They really did a job on the people in Angola. But not just Angola. There's another area called Cabinda, just north of Angola. The people were very humble. They had nothing. And I guess they could be steered in any direction. And so they were steered to do whatever they were told, or the Atlantic Ocean ran the whole length of the west part of Angola. And so I guess if you didn't do what you were supposed to do or were told to do, that water became home for you. Gold, diamonds, and oil were the main, what do you call it? Thank you. And the people who lived there, the natives, were used to mine, to bring it to surface, but they couldn't. They couldn't benefit from it. They were getting it for the government. Schooling, not happening. They have landmines there still. And so I had gone last summer to Angola, and I noticed the children were running like straight across their houses playing. And I wondered, because we were taking bus trips, and I wondered why they were running straight across instead of playing all along in the back of the house and so landmines. So I guess they'd been trained not to go certain areas. Schooling is not sufficient, very insufficient, unless you're willing to pay to go to school. Now that should never be. Water is brought into communities. So that's another issue that we're hoping with the help of America and some other nations who are willing to put the money in. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. We did visit an orphanage, and Carolita said the children wanted these little slides. What do you call them? I forgot.
Shoes.
Just little shoes, just little rubber shoes you walk around in with the toes on the heels. Flip-flops, thank you. So flip-flops, she told us to bring flip-flops for the children.
Okay.
So we were packing up the night before we were to go, packing up the flip-flops to take to the children in the orphanage. We sang with them. They were having an art class, and some of us were on the floor with them, helping them with their art lessons. I noticed this little group of boys, 5 of them, and they must have seen black folk on television because they had positioned themselves, and they you know how they strut, and they were posing, and I took pictures of it. I loved it. They were very polite children. You could see some of them were not happy, and we took time with them. We had some children, so that many of them were there as a result of poverty. There were some young ladies who were there with babies. So we don't know what went on in the home, but we do know that somebody was caring for them in the orphanage. Yes. Now, there were places to shop, and the African garb, lovely, lovely. We enjoyed that experience.
And this is the trip that you all, and I'm not going to keep it too, so we're going
That's all right.
This is the trip that your family takes on every year.
And Carolita is responsible for that trip. Carolita is a world traveler, like I said before, and so she plans it. So now, Carolita, and so, but there are other cousins who join forces. Yes.
Okay.
So there's Wanda, my oldest brother, Alexander's oldest child, Wanda, who goes around giving the talks as well. And but Wanda graduated not from Huntington High School. She graduated from Hampton High, I think.
Yeah, she's not old enough to graduate from Huntington.
Well, she's a grandmother now.
Okay.
Wanda Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know.
Okay.
We
Yes.
know your family. We know your family. We know those people.
So Wanda does the talks, but we have a different perspective on it. Now Wanda And she does it well because she's a storyteller. And so I'll do Wanda for a minute. She'll go into a woe about how we came here and how we got here. And I really don't want us to be so pitiful. Now, I started out with Mama, Master gonna sell us in the morning, but we got out of that. We did, even though we were sold, we took something with us. We took the Harriet Tubman with us. Wherever we went, however we could use it. Now, many were lost, many were killed, many died in the process, had to march to a slave ship and then be bound while marching to the slave ship, and then be put in the bows of the ship, almost on top of each other, overload the slave ship, because they knew everybody wouldn't make it, but they wanted to have enough to make a sale, a good profit. Human beings. Well, we know the story. We didn't stay there. Angola was one of the many countries in the largest continent. Did I say that right? Largest continent? Okay. Africa, yes.
The real name for Africa is Al-Kibalan.
Say it again.
Al-Kibalan
Al-Kibalan?
is the name of Africa.
Thank you so much. I didn't know that. Al-Kibalan, I'll show off. But it's a story that has to be told in all the schools. And because we have television now, and we're sharing more, opening up more, and we have interracial marriages going on a lot. Yeah, and people are learning to respect one another. And our music and our arts help to bring that closeness between the two so-called groups. Thank you very much for inviting me.